So we've got our Xpressathon today. So we've got the lovely Belle in with us, who has been here since 10:30 this morning. Belle, have you got a mic on?
Yeah.
My mic on. Sweet. Belle, what are your thoughts on rugby?
You know what? I literally know nothing about rugby.
Well, you've come to the worst show on earth.
You've come to the best show.
No, actually, I would disagree with you. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
I agree with Adam. I come to the best show. I need to learn.
With my sheer charisma and
my
good
knowledge
looks and sultry tones.
Mate, you have a face for radio.
And your posh accent and somewhat good rugby expertise, I'd say you have come to the right place.
I think I have come to the right place. Can
I just apologise for my missing the past 2 weeks? Last week I had to go home just as I was supposed to have surgery, but I had a train ticket booked, so I decided to go home and get my head right after everything that's been happening the past few weeks. So we are back. We had the URC last weekend, and we've got a couple of Six Nations to talk about. And can we talk about this weekend, because I'm very excited.
Yeah, well, just before we do that, I'm just going to tell you what's coming up on the show. We've got our regular CURFC catch-up. We have our Six Nations Round 4 review. We've got a couple of cracking games coming on this weekend. We've got Scotland versus Italy tomorrow. Very excited for that. Big game at the Stadio Olimpico. We've got the England-Ireland game. Very excited with that one. I've got quite a few England friends, so I'm going to hold one over them this weekend. Fingers crossed.
Anyone with England loyalty might be
and then on Sunday I'm going to Wales, France.
You didn't even invite me. I mean,
we're going to Wales, Italy next week. I invited you to that one. Don't take the mic now. I mean, but anyway, so that's what we have coming up on the show, and then our quickfire 5 to finish. Yes. But obviously this is a special episode. So we've got Belle with us, for example.
Yeah, I'm going to learn all about rugby. I'm going to interject with the questions, and many of them.
Yeah, rugby is quite a complex sport, so hopefully we'll be able to answer those for you, Belle.
Have you ever seen a ball?
It looks quite a lot like an egg.
It's not well. It's
this
not
feels very mansplaining on International Women's Day.
Okay.
This
is not the show. No, if you want to talk about politics, Luke actually does have a politics show. Which you can chat his ear off. On politics. We're just going to focus on rugby today. I was not actually trying to mansplain to you, but I think Luke was.
I'm not allowed to have some fun.
I'm not
gentlemen
here.
Make a joke anymore? Is this not a safe space for humour?
Okay, let's leave the politics chat to one side, shall we? So I'm just going to mention a couple of charities that we're raising money for today. Belle Lee, could you explain a wee bit about the charities? Do you probably know more about it? We've got Wavelength, we've got Mind, and we've got.
Do you know the names of the charities?
Yes, I have them right in front of me actually, and we have Maggie's Centre Cardiff. Would you be able to tell us a wee bit about those? Would you be able to tell us a wee bit about those charities?
Yes, and you missed Wavelength off.
Wavelength,
charity as well.
Wavelength.
Obviously, Mind is quite a famous charity. It's one that obviously supports mental health, which is really important. Promotes emotional well-being, supports a lot of people in the local area and nationally as well. Wavelength is a charity that combats loneliness by giving elderly people connections through radio, television and sound, which I think is very topical given we're Xpressathoning, is that a verb?
Yeah,
for 24 hours. We've been going, how long have we been going? Enough.
Nearly 12 hours.
No, more than.
Oh, really?
What time did we start?
Oh, no, 12:30, you are right. I can't do maths. Anyway, and then...
I'll just say, my mic is blocking your face. It's just...
That's alright. Yeah, position. Alright. So it blocks it more? That's not very nice.
And then the last charity is Maggie's Centre in Cardiff, which is a cancer hospice charity, which supports people with cancer, support families with loved ones living through cancer, and
And would you be able to tell us on how the people listening can donate to those charities?
It's on the SU website. All you have to do is type in Xpress, and it should be the first thing that comes up. You can donate up to £1,000 or as little as £1, but we highly suggest donating as much as possible. And it's also on Instagram stories, which is where you'll see a lot of promotion. Thank you, Luke. Promotion throughout the day. If you haven't been following Xpress Cardiff Radio, that is, it's XPRESS Radio Cardiff.
XPRESS Radio Cardiff.
On Instagram. I know.
You're supposed to be our social media guru as well.
And if you don't donate, you disappear.
You disappear.
Disappear.
So where? We don't know, but you disappear.
Sounds a little bit.
We take you out the back.
Anyway,
I'm not going to continue with this for the sake
okay,
of
right.
off-top.
Well, let's for the sake
shall
of
we go on to
that's our three charities. So we've got Maggie Centre Cardiff, we have Wavelength, and we have Cardiff's Mind charity. So that's those three that we have. So we're gonna start we're just gonna move into our show now. Our CURFC catch up. So look, there was a bit of a disappointing result for the boys this weekend, or not this weekend, rather Wednesday. 52-29 loss to Nottingham.
Of all teams.
Yeah, it was a bad defeat.
Nottingham 8th in the table now.
They've dropped to 9th. With that result, it leaves them on 22 points, which is 4 behind Nottingham.
But we are clear of Swansea, and that's all we wanted to be, and I think that's
they're officially safe.
At this point, just keep safe. Mm-hmm. So. Well, I would say congratulations to Exeter for becoming champions again.
Congratulations, of course. Forgot to mention that on that show with Dom last week. I'm not sure if he would have appreciated that or not.
But, fair play to them. Cardiff, as we said, they've had a rough season this season. Now it's just focusing on varsity. I think all they can do now is rebuild, because varsity is the most important game. Forget everything else, put everything else past you. It's a tough season to walk away from.
Yeah.
But we've won against Swansea in away. Mm-hmm. Go do it again in a bigger stadium with more fans.
Yeah, absolutely, and that would be a cracking way to finish the season. In terms of their season, though, 7 points ahead of Swansea, as we said, who will now go into that relegation playoff, and that makes Cardiff safe now. Disappointing, but it was good. It was a promising performance against Durham last week. Who were third in the table. They got a losing bonus point there, and they nearly won that game. What do you reckon on the end of the season? It's sort of been a wee bit up and down, but I feel like there's been improvements in performance.
There's been all-round improvements, and I think when we look at the current Cardiff, what's happened with that Cardiff team. Of course, it's going to fluctuate. Of course, it's going to be better and worse.
Yeah, there's been quite a lot of changes.
And we must also remember they're getting these losses not because they're still staying the same, but other teams are also getting better and better.
Absolutely.
And I forgot to bring water. I'm going to dive first.
That's all right. We've got a couple of Red Bulls here who are sponsoring today's Xpressathon. Thank you very much, Red Bull. Cheers. Keeping me energised, revitalising my body and mind. Anyway, we've got Bath at home to finish. Do you think they can finish this? They can still finish above Nottingham, actually, if they can get a bonus point victory against Bath, and Nottingham don't get anything. They're away to Hartbury, who are second in the table.
They were.
There's a possibility there.
To beat Bath bonus point.
I'll be a defeat, but it's not completely out of the realms of possibility.
Guy I went to school with, he's on the Bath team. So Rory, can you just help us out there? Of course I'm joking. Please do not, get me in trouble. I think there's always, rugby is a game where so much happens and there's always a possibility.
Yeah.
And that is the beauty of the sport, and that's the reason why we love it.
Yeah.
So I still think it could turn on its head and we could run away with a win, but so could Nottingham. So realistically, no. But with a bit of faith.
Yeah.
Come on.
And that would set us up very well for varsity, and I think it's a winnable game for Cardiff. I really do.
I'm just going to make a bottle. Sorry.
I think it's a winnable game for Cardiff. Bath at home. Bath have they fluctuated in their results recently, and absolutely think they can finish this season strong, and hopefully we'll be there on Wednesday to see them do it. But overall, I was at the women's game last week.
Good performance. They had a rough time with that very, very hard season.
It's been a tough season for them. Just to touch on them quickly, they finished sort of bottom of their league, but it's a new league that they're in.
It's a new league, a lot of really good teams for more money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, and their game's just going to go from strength to strength, really. Especially, hopefully, they can get some more funding on board.
And for those watching later, while I'm yawning, it is 11, and I'm very tired.
Yeah, he needs a Red Bull.
Very much.
There we go. We've finally got ourselves a producer in Belle. Happy days.
I'm scheduling. I'm getting water. I'm just.
Because we were talking about this after show. We said we need a producer.
Yeah, we don't quite have that. We don't quite have that in the budget, but I'm sure.
I think I can clear my schedule. Maybe.
Happy days. Happy days. That was our CURFC catch up, and that moves us on to our Six Nations preview. We've got round 4 this weekend, 3 games. Italy, Scotland at 2:15 tomorrow. We've got.
I actually think that's an underrated game.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're talking about an absolute cracker of a fixture. You've got Dwayne van der Merwe on the wing. He's stunning in, coming off the back of that Calcutta Cup victory against England, which was absolutely stunning.
Shall we touch on that briefly? The last round's game.
Can I just say, all I can say for that Scotland game was the hat trick. I think
that was the separator, wasn't it?
It's just he was so dominant. Mm-hmm. Maybe he should have worn green. However,
yes, that's the big debate.
As Scotland is my second team, I'm very glad they have him.
Yeah.
And also means we have Colby and Aaron, so on both wings now. But more to the point, I mean, Ireland faced Wales, didn't they? They won 35-5, if I remember.
No, it was 31-7. It finished. So yeah, just to touch on those games, what do you make of those fixtures? Obviously, we chatted about it last week, but what do you think?
Well, Wales put on a good show for circumstance and everything. What I would say is that Gats has to go. He needs one more season to get the young guys stabilised, and then he has to go because he doesn't play the right rugby.
Yes, but can you go? Can I pose this question to you? Can they go to Dublin and play an expansive game?
Well, it's not just Dublin. That's the thing. And you know what? It's better to try and fail with something completely different than have the same type of game repeatedly. Because what we're seeing with Gats rugby is it's the same stuff time and time again. Yes, it won championships in 2019. It won championships in 2012. But that's not the same as now. Now rugby has changed. If you threw Gats rugby if you threw that Welsh team up against the All Blacks, what would happen?
Well, you'd have to say they'd get taken apart probably, but I think.
If you threw them,
but I honestly think, and just talking about that game again, as I said last week, I think Wales, they held Ireland out for a very long time.
There were positives to take
there was a lot of positives on a defensive aspect, but offensively they were quite poor.
I would say that when they had their moments of magic offensively, they weren't playing Gats rugby, they were playing PVAC rugby. And that's what we're seeing. I think they changed coaches a year too early, or 2 years too early. I think if he had come in post this World Cup with a young, completely fresh blank slate, because remember again, Welsh development gap, complete blank slate, all this team, I think he would have been a lot better. I also think it's a shame that Joe Schmidt's gone to Australia and not here, because he would have done quite well.
I think he would have done a cracking job there actually.
That's
to be fair.
In
terms of the
Italy, France, the greatest India. As some of you know,
yes,
I'm now qualified ref. I'm the rules expert here. France actually infringed when he took the kick.
Yeah,
so it should have been a penalty.
On the mark, yeah.
Now, it was the ref's first Six Nations game, so the pressure on your head is immense. As a referee, there is so much going on in a game that you can't see everything.
Yeah.
But you've got TMO, you've got linesmen, and especially a Six Nations environment, should have done better there. I mean, fair play. Finished 13-13, incredible result.
Incredible performance from it. I was more in that game. I was actually more impressed because obviously France went down to 14 men on the stroke of half time. I was more impressed with that at least first half performance. They managed to hold France out, and maybe it was France's lack of accuracy, maybe their lack of continuity that we've seen throughout this championship.
Pressure creates that pressure,
and their defence was superb in that.
And as we've said, and as you know, I've said this the whole time this show's been running. Italy are on their way up. Tier 2 rugby is on its way up, and I'll say it on this show now. I will bet you £20.
£20?
In the 2031 Rugby World Cup semi-finals, there will be a current Tier 2 nation.
In the World Cup final?
Semi-finals. So down to 4 teams.
So is that in terms of Tier 2? Is that?
So I'm saying so we'll go with the traditional Tier 2 of Fiji, Italy, Georgia, who I think might do it, Portugal, Spain, etc.
Okay.
The tier 2 of rugby, not the.
You know what? I actually tend to agree with you in that in the 2031 because I feel like those teams, especially Fiji, I mean they were fantastic at the last World Cup. Well, I think Fiji in particular were fantastic at the last World Cup.
Fiji, so I'm going to a Fiji game.
Oh, happy days. Is that the one?
Fiji Bards, the double header.
Oh, the double header. Yes, that's right. So this week it was announced that the Qatar Airways Cup,
last
isn't it?
Week, yeah.
And there would be a Twickenham double header in July, isn't it?
It's June 22nd.
June 26th. There we go. I was close.
It's Springboks face Wales, and it'll be a young Springbok squad, experimental. The Humble will hopefully start at 10 or 9, and it will be just the usual Welsh squad. that stadium's going to be filled because the Barbs-Fiji game, everyone wants to go for the Barbs game, but there's so many South Africans, it's just going to be green and all swapped to white jerseys because we all support the Fijian.
Of course, yeah. That's a very exciting game coming up. So that was the Italy-France game. You know, as we say, Italy are growing and growing. In terms of the England-Scotland game, just Julian van der Merwe up to his magic again.
He's so good.
Yeah.
I think it was like that World Cup semi-final. You can negate, 2019, that Welsh versus South African semi-final.
Yeah.
You can take out and match every single factor. But when you've got one, and for the semi-final it was the scrum. Actually, both semi-finals it was the scrum.
Yeah.
And Andre Pollard's boot. But in this England-Scotland game, it was Dwayne van der Merwe. When you've got one thing you can't counter, that's when you lose. And van der Merwe. Everything was clean. I mean, his hair stayed intact whilst he was scoring those tries. The dude
must have some very strong wax in there. Like he's got to have some special hair product that he wears.
You know what? It's worth it because he's just
absolutely fantastic. And I think that was the difference between those two teams, really. And I think that was the only difference.
I think
because I think England actually played better than Scotland in that game, in my opinion.
I genuinely think Dwayne van der Merwe
quite a lot of.
Van der Merwe should be starting for British and Irish Lions next year.
I think I would agree with that. I think playing current form.
He is the best wing in Europe. I will say it. He's the best in-form wing in Europe because he's just he's like an extra forward mixed with a wing. Our producer's leaving us.
Oh dear. That's alright, she'll be back. So that was just, I just wanted to ask Luke's opinion on that because I know he's been bursting to share his thoughts with us all over the last 2 weeks when he's been in hibernation or wherever he's been.
I've been out and putting my legs up talking about rugby with my dogs.
Okay, just not doing it in front of the microphone then.
The thing is that, well, how should I say it? My dad's a Stormers supporter and I'm a Sharks fan. So the past week was very rough. We always obviously support the Lions and the Bulls as like second teams.
Yeah.
However, the Stormers are my second team. I have had the worst URC season possible, and we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, they're both in the bottom half of the URC, but we'll not talk about that too much. But anyway, we're going to move on to our Six Nations round 4 preview. Very excited for this. We'll start on Italy, Scotland, which is 2:15 kick-off tomorrow in the Stadio Olimpico. Tough game for Scotland, really tough game to keep their Six Nations hopes alive. In terms of, we'll start on Italy. Louis Lina on debut. Strong Italy side with Sebastian Negri coming back in. Do you think Italy can build upon the result against France, and how do you see this one going?
Negri's going to be a big factor because at the line now, I know Scotland sometimes use Afrikaans code from what I can pick up on the line.
Oh really?
Negri's born in Zimbabwe, and I think if he knows a bit of the language, he might get under the skin of the South African players on the Scotland side.
Could do.
But more importantly, it's the emotional factor. Stadio Olimpico with that national anthem. Scotland's
one national anthem.
It's up there with Flower of Scotland and Murrayfield. I mean,
that's not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's or Land of My Fathers in in the Principalities. So
yes, absolutely.
Or for some reason,
Land of My Fathers. That was the one. There was Welsh people singing behind me. They were singing Land of My Fathers. That was
Or for some reason, in Cosy Sikilili Africa, Twickenham, but that's because there were like 80,000 Africans. That's what made a difference. But I think it's a big game for both sides. Scotland are gonna know what they did wrong last week, and they could pick up from it. And I reckon they'll I'm going to say 27-24 to the Scots. Obviously, my predictions are not great because
exact same as that Italy-England game. Then that finished that score.
I think it's going to finish that way because what I can see is Capuozzo is great. I mean, he's a little rascal.
Rascal.
But the problem is you got that a lot of the team's wings are think about the James Lau factor.
Yeah, they're big.
They're big, and they're slender. But they're not Dwayne van der Merwe.
Yeah.
He is so big. He is so strong. He's not like any other wing. And when he makes his break, and that's what we saw in the England game, is that when he got past the England fence, they couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the try he scored last year.
It's a game-changing factor, isn't it?
We saw him do it again against Wales because he's just it's like having a cheat code.
Yeah, and in terms of those two attacks, obviously Duan is a big part of that Scotland attack. How do you see both sides play such a sort of breathless, sort of dynamic attacking game? How do you see that facing off?
Well, the thing is, Scotland's attack is more erratic. The Italians like to put a flair to it because that's how they do everything. Mm-hmm. But they keep their flair measured. That's something that they've evolved over time. They keep it measured. They know when to attack. They don't rush into it like they used to in previous years. Yeah. When they bottled chances. Scotland, it's just how much coke Finn Russell's taken, and we'll see.
Okay.
Oh, that's a joke.
That's Coca-Cola.
By the way. For official reasons, it's Coca-Cola.
For official reasons, that is Coca-Cola.
Of course, it's a joke.
Or Red Bull.
Oh yeah, it's Red Bull. However much Red Bull, Finn Russell.
Sorry, I feel like this show is constantly you saying outrageous things and me trying
to be fair, it's not that outrageous.
Put in context what you've just said.
I'm making a joke because Finn Russell. Yes. I mean, he's the best flyer.
He's fantastic.
He's in the top 3 flyers on the planet.
And in terms of that kicking battle, how do you reckon that's going to go? Do you think he's got too much? Yeah. Okay. Well, in terms of looking at the lineups for the Scots, George Horne comes in at 9. Ben White, that's a big loss for Scotland.
Oh, he's injured, isn't he?
He's injured.
Yeah, that's a massive loss because his snipe play is very, very measured and good. Horne has to step up for that.
Horne brings sort of a different tempo, doesn't he? He's a whippet. Like he's very quick around the breakdown.
He's also the thing with Ben White is Ben White's very quick to give it to Russell. Mm-hmm. Horne looks for that extra opportunity, and that could be very good, especially in the 5 metre channel, but in open play, especially sort of the midfield. Really, you want it going to Russell straight away. He's doing shameless advertising in the middle of the show, and we don't even get paid for it.
I'm just doing my job. I'm doing my job. This is the Xpressathon. No, this is the Xpressathon. It's just because I'm a media guru. That's it, isn't it, Belle? Yeah, Belle agrees with me.
Belle agrees.
There we go. Anyway, you were saying about Scotland's.
I think, especially in the midfield and their own 22, you need Russell quick ball because that's when he works his magic.
Yeah.
He is so fast to make his decision, and if you don't get the ball to him on time, he's not going to be able to make it. And you get that extra half a second, and suddenly the magic pass isn't on, and there's an extra breakdown, and Russell's now out of play, and Kingon has to come up.
And in terms of, sorry to cut in or interject, Andy Christie comes in for Jamie Ritchie, but there's a big move. I think the one that stood out to me was Cameron Redpath coming in for Tuipulotu. Obviously, Cameron Redpath plays a Bath with Finn Russell. How does that affect Scotland's game? Because both Redpath and Tuipulotu are very good second-hand distributors, but in terms of Redpath's, he's a different player.
Tuipulotu's more physical.
He's far more physical.
Tuipulotu plays like he's on par with Damien Dialende and Bundyaki as a physical. I wouldn't say he's as good, but he's as physical, especially at the breakdown and going into contact.
I think he's getting up there though, and honestly, because he's not just a crash ball centre anymore.
I think the thing is, very good with his hands. They just do go clear because they're just
they're relentless. Yeah.
I mean, you can't stop either.
It's a different level. But how do you see that affecting?
I think the thing is that Redpath plays a very different game, but him and Russell use each other to distribute, and once you've got 2 distributors and who are actually click quite well, because Redpath knows, you see him at the Bath games, he knows when Russell's going to do something mad, and he knows where he needs to be. And he can
There's a good chemistry between those two. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out.
I think he will add an extra dynamic to that attack, and he might be running different channels where Tuipulotu will go for the crash ball, Hugh Jones will go in instead, and that gives Redpath the extra space to be that bigger distributor, especially in the long passes, where we have seen Scotland fail in times and cost them tries potentially because they haven't got the ball that long.
So you think the distribution's going to be better with Redpath coming in?
I think we're much better.
I tend, as much as I think Redpath's a fantastic player, I think they actually lose a lot with Tuipulotu missing, because I think he gives them that go forward ball, but he also gives them. He's also very good with his hands, like for a crash.
Usually it's the short ball that comes from Tuipulotu, whereas I think Redpath's more about the long ball.
Yeah.
And when you're playing a team like Italy with shorter wings and well, physically shorter, not like, you know what I mean.
Yes.
When you're playing a team
More
like
narrow.
Italy with a more narrow wing and physically smaller wings, and you can then distribute that ball so much better.
Yeah.
And if you get the long ball going, you get it to Carlson, you get to John Van der Merwe.
Mm-hmm.
So John Van der Merwe. They're just going to push through.
Yeah, and those are big wingers as well.
You know, instead of having the tour velocity is important with the breakdown, and that's where Redpath has to step up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's this long ball distribution that gets them the extra meterage. And I reckon not having crash ball in the centre but having it out wide will get them an extra 5 or 6 metres.
Yeah.
And that is what wins you games.
Yeah.
So our prediction, 24-27 Scotland victory.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go for a. Honestly, like I could see Italy maybe doing it. You know, like honestly, like Scotland have not let the world let. They've in good certain spells in terms of their first 50 minutes against Wales, fantastic. But am I gonna go for an Italy win here? I think I might go for an Italy win. I'm gonna go for 24-21 to Italy. I'm gonna throw it out there. I might be wrong.
Remember when I predicted a 15-10 win?
Yeah, well, everybody knows that was complete and utter rubbish from you, and you were just saying it to be just to be different. But anyway, yeah.
So not like the other rugby pundits and analysts.
Yeah, so not like them. But I'm doing it this week, so I can't really say anything. So yeah, that was our Scotland-Italy preview. So we'll move on to England-Ireland. Look,
I can't even say this. Come on, England.
Come on, England.
Well, the thing is, I like it. I
like an underdog story, do you?
I love an underdog story, and you know what? I don't always like Steve Borthwick and the England team, as is well documented on many occasions. However, all this talk that Ireland, despite not winning the World Cup, are better in every way than the Springboks has annoyed me so much that I'm going to be supporting the men in white. And it's because, and I want to say this here. When the Irish played the Springboks, the Springboks were experimenting. That's why the Irish won. We'll see that in the two game series. But the more important issue, England at Twickenham are very different. Now we saw last year what happened with France and England with the 52-10. I mean, hiding that the French put on them.
Yeah. Superb performance.
I think it's a completely different game, and I think England are going in with a very different strategy, game plan. Especially with George Ford at fly half.
Alex Mitchell coming back in it.
Mitchell's big. Marcus Smith on the bench completely changes the dynamic instantly when he comes on. So I'm going to say England can do it. I'm going to say 31-13. Sorry, no, 31-30.
Oh my days, I can't believe you just said that. I'm absolutely disgusted with you, quite frankly. Belle's laughing in the back here.
Belle's giggling in the studio.
That's the most.
I think England can take it because what I'm expecting is Ireland to run out, and Ireland don't perform under pressure, as we know. Ireland cannot perform under pressure.
I can't really argue too much with that fact, given
your entire experience supporting Irish rugby.
Yeah.
So I think when you're going for a historic streak, that's going to be weighing so heavy on you.
But is it though? Because I don't think it's I don't think the historic streak is such a big thing.
Andy Farrell will put it onto them. Mm-hmm. We know what Andy Farrell is like as a coach, and I think he'll put it onto them.
Yeah.
And I also still think that pressure, the big game of Twickers, it will just get under their skin.
Okay. Well, just to talk about the game a wee bit, it's huge. It's a huge game for England in terms. It's sort of a free hit for England in many ways in terms of no one really expects them to win it because Ireland have been so good. But it's time for them to show what they're about against one of the best sides in the world. Theo Wilboso comes into the wing. George Morton comes in a lock. He's the Leicester lock. Chesham goes to number 6. A couple of interesting calls there from Borthwick. What do you think they can build on last week's performance?
It adds dynamism to the lineup. I also think it gives just more cover, and you want more fetchers, especially in a team against Ireland, where breakdown wise, Ireland often when you're refereeing in rugby, you often let a few things go at the breakdown because either you A, don't see them, or B, there's never been a legal ruck in the history of the sport of rugby because it's almost impossible to do. So Ireland get away with quite a lot at the breakdown, but when you have 3 fetchers like Martin, George,
Chesham.
Sorry, no, not Martin and George. It's Martin. who's the
Martin.
Is Itoje playing?
Itoje is
Yeah,
playing.
Martin Itoje and
Underhill's playing.
And well, with Underhill there as well. That's
Underhill's
4.
playing.
Okay, 5 fetchers in that England lineup. That's massive.
Yeah,
breakdown.
again, just good over the ball as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you have so many fetchers in your lineup, that's just going to ruin Ireland's breakdown plan. And it is, because it adds that extra 1% that gets under the scrum half skin, because the ball maybe isn't getting. Not that England are going to win the ball every single ruck, but it's the ball is going to be slightly slower.
Okay.
The counter rucking.
So you think the breakdown's where they're going to win it? Do you think that's the game plan for England? How do you think England play? Because we've seen 2 sort of different sides to England. This we've seen the sort of kicking game, the sort of quite sort of lethargic sort of kicking for points, kicking for territory.
I'm always
a more expansive game.
Now you know what I'm like. I like any rugby, especially ugly rugby. Kicking for points is where England have to go. Anytime you're in the Ireland half and you can go for goals, because you know what, it's 3 points, and it's guaranteed because you've got George Ford. Where I think England will win is how they scrum against Porter.
Okay.
I think if they target Porter, they can win so many scrum penalties. Because
Do
Porter,
you honestly think he's that weak in the scrum?
it's the way his technique, and he's been picked up on by the refs. We've seen that he.
I mean, he's struggled against Winnie Antonio in the past.
And we've seen him, especially now on social media, being criticised. And Nigel Owens has actually called it out, saying that Porter's been quite lucky on a few occasions. Is this the game where Genge hammers him and suddenly gets under his skin? Because once you give the first penalty, it won't be
him and Genge. It'll be him and Dan Cole actually going up. And
Dan Cole,
he's a good scrummager.
Dan Cole is the best technical scrummer in Europe. End of. He is the best, and it is an accepted fact. Dan, as much as I don't really like him, he seems like an alright guy. It's just, he looks like he's spending his life ploughing the fields with his head.
Can't be going in on Dan Cole like that. Dan Cole's actually got himself a podcast now. Ben Young.
He seems like a chill enough guy, but he's the best technical scrummager in Europe.
Yeah.
And I think that will put pressure on Porter. And when the first infringement comes, now we saw Cole against the Springboks and how well he did there. If he does that on Porter, I think he'll win. And when he wins that first battle, he sets up to win the second battle, and suddenly you've just got the knock-on effect of scrum penalties. Because once it's 1, it's 2. It becomes more and more. And I reckon if they get 2 scrum penalties in the first 20 so minutes, I really hope they do this. I hope they go for the Damien Villains the scrum call.
Yeah. Well,
just to get under the skin, and because it's so funny and it's awesome. It's my favourite play in all of rugby.
Yeah. Well, I have to. Don't get me wrong. As much as I'm facetious about with my other English friends and stuff like that, and saying, "Oh, we're gonna batter yous." I don't think we are. I think it's going to be a lot tighter than a lot of people think, because I think Borthwick's going to come with a plan, and you can see with the side that he is coming with a specific plan, with Chesham at 6, with Mitchell coming back in at 9. You see that different plan. Theo Busso coming in and knowing he's running the changes, and he's going to play a particular style. He's going to try and nullify what that sort of quick, relentless Irish running rugby relentless game, with quick ruck ball, and he's going to try and break that down, as you say, with the ball fetchers. But I think Ireland are just that bit too good. I think England are still in that sort of phase where they're trying to figure stuff out. Borthwick has not been in here long. And I still think that they're in that stage where they're trying to figure out their best sides, figure out their best system. And I think Ireland they have the momentum, they have the confidence, they have a fully fit lineup. Hugo Keenan coming back in at fullback. So I can only see Ireland's. I don't think it's going to be a whitewash by any means, but I think they will win it by 7 points. I think I'm going to go for 27-20. I'm going to go 27-14.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Conditions are, cloudy, so that's not going to affect me too much.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Too much. Oh, I really do beg my pardon there.
Drink some water.
I've got barely got any left. I hit the drink.
Is that a call for producer Belle to go get you some more?
That might be a call for producer Belle. Dear me.
On
You're not getting
on International
on
Women's
International
Day.
Women's Day. Belle, shall I go get him a drink?
You've only got 13 seconds.
Shall I go get you a drink, Belle?
Would you
On
like-
International Women's Day.
Would you like a
I
drink?
feel so catered for. No, you carry on talking about rugby and tries and ugly rugby, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah. We've given her a few giggles at least.
Yeah, I have been-
Even
I
if she
have
doesn't
been-
like rugby, even in the studio.
Yeah, I have been
Should-
silently giggling in the background.
Shall we talk about Wales, France?
I think we should move on to Wales, France. I think we sort of finished off on.
I'm going to go bold here.
Okay.
It's going to be a lot
By all
tighter than
means.
people think.
I believe so too. Yeah, moving on to that
I don't know
one.
who's going to win that. I'm going to call it here. I genuinely, unlike the Scotland game, unlike the England game, England's tight. I know the England's going to be tight. I think the English can do it. This game, I don't know, because again, I'm going to go back to what I said a few weeks ago. Damien Penaud is having the worst season of international rugby he's had for a while.
I think that's harsh though.
No, he is.
I think that's harsh though, because I think he's been the one guy in that French team which has showed up. That's
No, he
actually
hasn't.
fronted out.
If I've watched his placement on the pitch, and he's always a foot ahead of where he should be. He's too eager to receive, and he's actually been offside on maybe 4 or 5 occasions where he's cost France that extra line.
But I think he brings so much in attack.
He
that
does, yes, but when you're out of position by that extra foot, sometimes it works, sometimes it really, really doesn't. Yes.
So
They
for
walk out.
Wales, of course,
Wales,
but,
France.
Wales, France, big game for Wales to avoid the wooden spoon. Rowlands comes in, man drops out, Jenkins goes to 6. Owen
Why does that
Watkins.
sound like an all boys primary school team?
I don't know.
It does. Why
Owen
does-
Watkin and Joe Roberts come in at the centres. It's a bit of a different approach from Gaston, would you say?
It seems to be he's actually taken.
Your advice?
Yeah, he's become a bit more innovative. I'm excited for this game.
I am very excited. Yeah, I think this centre partnership in particular shows a lot of well, Watkins actually he's had quite a few caps to be fair, but Joe Roberts completely new coming in. So talk about a baptism of fire.
Yeah, no, he's done incredibly well. I think this. Can you put a text in?
He's
This is Nick Carshot.
he's the Scarlets outside centre.
Yeah.
He's been very good this season.
You know, hasn't had much time in the red jersey, in the Welsh jersey, not the red jersey. He's got to play red. But you know, give him more time, he'll grow.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what Wales need to do is, as we've said, is just take the season to rebuild and get the young guys, get them capped, get them involved with the crowd, the noise.
Yeah.
But this France game is a way to say to Fabien Galtier, it's a way to put the finger up and say, we know we're younger, we know we have less experience, we know that we aren't as good, but we're still going to take it to you, and we're going to take the fight every single minute. And I think, going to be honest, do you want me to throw out a score here?
Before you do that, what do you think the game plan is for Wales to take advantage of France?
Welsh game plans to go. It will be down to Gats, but I think with the way that France showed themselves, especially at the end of that Italy game, it's to push. It's not to be conservative and kick. It's to
Just to
actually,
get in their faces in
It's
attack
quick
and defence.
ball, fast ruck speed, creative rugby, Finn Russell rugby.
Okay.
Can we run?
That's alright, carry on. And what is your prediction then for that game?
It's a hard one. I would like it to be a Welsh win.
Okay.
I would like it to be a
But
Welsh
if I had to push you for one,
I can't see it being too high scoring, just because of the way the French defence is working and the way that Wales just haven't clicked right now, and also the French attack. I'm going to say 16-16.
16-16. Okay, well, a draw. I'm actually, for this one, I'd love Wales to win, but I still feel like France have got that. Even though they've made a lot of changes, they've got Ramos coming in at 10, Le Garrett coming in at 9, and they've got a lot of changes in that back line. But I still feel like they have that sort of guile about them, where I feel like they're just going to nick it. So I'm going to go 19-16 for that one.
That's good.
But moving on to talk about our quick fire 5.
Woohoo!
Should we do our quick fire 5, Belle?
We shall.
We shall. So this is our quick fire 5 segment, which we do every. Your first quick fire 5.
Oh my God.
You can learn some rugby through it.
Do you want to ask the questions first? Or
I'll
shall I?
ask the questions first. Okay.
Okay.
How
How nice have you been question-wise? Because I've been out for the past 2 weeks.
I don't think these are too bad, to be fair. So the first one is, who scored for Ireland against England in the 2018 instalment of the fixture to become the third highest try scorer in a single Six Nations season? So he's the third highest try scorer in a single Six Nations season. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Who is it?
Jacob Stockdale with 7.
Okay, that's a hard question for a southern.
Yeah, well,
hemisphere,
yeah, that was Jacob Stockdale. When did Italy last beat Scotland in the Six Nations?
2010.
That is incorrect. It was 2015.
No, it wasn't, because the last win.
No, when
Italy beats. No, the last win Italy had in the Six Nations was against.
no against Scotland.
No, because I swear that there was a gap. It was the.
No.
Sorry.
You can fact check it.
I'm
It's
going
correct.
to fact check because or else I've been lied to.
It was 2015, and then before that it was 2012.
Some tension, I'm sensing.
No.
Yeah, this is.
There's some tension.
Oh, you're right. Why did I?
Okay.
Because I thought it was the France game in 2013, which is why.
No, not quite. No. So the third question is: when was the last time Wales beat France in the Six Nations? It's been a hot minute.
In the Six Nations.
In the Six Nations.
2019, because they won the Grand Slam.
That was correct. Yes.
And they then won the second game in the 2019 World Cup.
That's right. Yeah. Correct. Well done. Who got a red card in last year's game of England versus Ireland in Dublin, that Grand Slam decider? Who got a red card?
No, it wasn't the 45-second one, was it? No, because that was Charlie Ewels, and he wasn't playing. No, because that was a Twickers. Oh no. Was Ewels in the squad? Was the 45-second Charlie Ewels red card was in the 2022 Six Nations, correct?
It's not Charlie Ewels, I'll give you that.
Is it an England player?
It isn't. Yes, it is an England player. I'll help you out a little bit.
Was it Maritoja? No, it was Mako Vunipola.
Incorrect. It was Freddie Stewart.
Of course it was. No, I remember it.
There we go. We've got our next guest coming in now.
But-
What year? And then this is my final question. What year did the Wales-France 100-minute game happen? What year was that?
Oh, that was the mental one that pushed and pushed and pushed.
Yeah.
Is that 2018?
It went to nearly 100 minutes. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
2017.
So 0
So
from 5.
no, that's 1 from 5. You got the Wales France one correct. So that is 1 out of 5 for Luke.
I mean, we are pushing each other with the
We
questions.
are pushing it. Right. Would you like to give me? My
I've got some
questions?
URC themed questions for this
Oh, you
week.
do? Okay. Right. Well, hit me with them.
Question 1. What was the score when the Stormers faced the Bulls at a packed out Loftus Stadium? Now, mind you, that's a 52,000 people.
Is that this was last week?
Yes.
There was Stormers got 20 points, and Bulls had 35-20 to the Bulls.
You are incorrect. It was 40 points to 22 to the Bulls.
Yes.
Which Glasgow Warriors player was yellow carded when they faced Benetton?
Stafford McDowell.
It was Lucio Sordoni.
These are hard questions.
Yeah, you want to know what? Which Lions player started in the 9 jersey when they hammered the Sharks 40 points to 10?
Which Lions player?
Oh, come on, why did I actually write that question?
Which Lions player? Hold on. Sorry, say it again.
Which Lions player started in the 9 jersey when they hammered the Sharks 40 points to 10? It means a future Springbok.
I don't know the Lions squad very well.
His name's been all over social media, especially rugby media.
I actually, you've stumped me there.
Sonali Nohamba.
Okay.
Little
I wasn't going to get that, so that's 0 from 3.
Who scored the final try when Leinster defeated Cardiff 33-20?
Oh, I watched the highlights of this one. Was it stop dancing, please? I'm trying to think. Ross Maloney.
It was Alan Summerhill.
Alan Summerhill. Oh my.
And you know my answer to this question. Who has the best name in world rugby?
Juan van der Merwe?
No.
That's not really a question. That's subjective.
Okay, who do I think has the best name in world rugby? It's a Welsh player. That's what I'll give you.
Oh, okay.
So is that a proper good name? He sounds like he could be in an old English crime novel.
David Jenkins.
Ross Moriarty.
Oh right, okay, of course, yes, probably Portugal.
That's
And with
right.
that's 0 out of 5. Look, so you've won this
let's
week's
go.
quick fire 5. Well,
But it's a pathetic week in, week out. How bad
yeah.
we do.
No, well, to be fair, I was pretty good last.
Oh no, you hammered me last.
I was
week.
pretty good last week against Dom and stuff like that. But
So we've got a
I'm afraid
choice.
I've lost that. But yeah, that was.
Song-wise, can we either have Derek and the Dominoes, Layla, or Domino by Jessie J?
Domino by
Jessie
Jessie
J.
J. I'm feeling that
Oh,
one.
we're going
Yeah.
for the white girl music.
White girl music!
There we go. So that was your episode 6 of the Ruck and Roll show on this very special event at the Xpressathon. Belle, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed. And I hope
Apart
you
from having to get you a glass of
I hope
water.
you enjoyed.
I was going to do it myself, and you offered very kindly, so thank you.
Yes,
Never been
thanks
for
very much for your help,
apology.
Bella. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you all enjoyed the show at home. Just a little bit of promotion for us
Sorry,
in
Giles,
particular.
Jessie J.
We have a YouTube channel. If you search up Ruck and Roll Show on YouTube,
Or on
and,
TikTok.
We have a TikTok channel
It's
and
the
we
Ruck
have
and
an
Roll.
Instagram,
Yes,
which so you can all find that on.
We're having viewer suggestions. They want Eric Clapton.
Well, Eric Clapton will be for next week. We'll say that
Oh,
for
next week.
episode.
Okay, well,
An
you'll have
incentive
to
to
tune
tune
in.
in.
You'll have to tune in. It's at 8:30 next week. But now that was our episode 6 of the Ruck and Roll show on the Xpressathon. Coming up next, we have Benjamin, our leader.
Supreme
for,
Leader
Express-
Benjamin.
Supreme Leader Benjamin. We've got Lexi.
Kim Jong Ben.
And we've got Monty. Isn't that correct? I
Yes,
got that
it's
correct?
the Sunday
It's
special.
the Sunday special here at Express Radio. So
The
they're
Sunday
gonna
special is
be
Saturday
here with
morning.
you for the next hour. So I look forward to that show
Thank you so
there.
much for
That's going
listening.
to be a very exciting one. And thanks very much for listening. And you'll see
Donate-
us next week.
Donate to charity. Tune into 1.5 Tories tomorrow. Today at 2 because it's
Today at it's midnight.
Yeah, it's midnight. Or the Unnamed Cast show on Sunday at 2 because we'll be doing a Formula 1 race recap.
Okay.
Thanks so much for listening. Have a good weekend. If we don't talk to you again.